Hey guys, so I haven't done a video for a while. I was kind of doing my little social media detox videos and that kind of fell on the wayside, but I did want to start making some videos of some other stuff that I'm doing in my life. And one of those things is caring for my houseplants, which I have quite a few, maybe too many, not as many as I did a year ago, but yeah, so one of the things I'm trying to do right now is rehabilitate a couple of orchids. I have not had all that much luck with orchids, but I haven't really looked into their care all that well until recently. I've had these two Phalaenopsis, I think that's how you say it, Phalaenopsis orchids, for a couple years now. They're the kind that you see at all the grocery stores with the really nice blooms. And you usually buy them and the blooms last quite a while and then they eventually die, and it's often hard to get them to reflower, and most people end up killing them, me included. So I started to explore how to properly care for them a little more, and I went to repot the two that I had because they were kind of wilty and not doing the best, and I found out that the roots were completely rotten on the one and almost completely gone on the other. And the ones that weren't gone had some black spots and stuff on them, so they had mold, which so I had to cut all the roots off of these orchids. And I had them sitting in some glasses of water with the root base touching, hoping that they would start to reroot, and that started to go black as well. So I ended up doing some more research on just to see if I could save them, and I found a few videos. So I'm going to share the tips that I found with you guys. So the one I'll show you, this one was actually starting to grow a new baby orchid before I repotted it, but some of the leaves, the larger leaves underneath, were wilting in the pot, and it's because its roots were rotting. So yeah, I cut off all the roots, and this root base was longer, but it was very black at the end, and the roots were completely rotten. So I had to completely cut it off, and I had to clean this with a toothbrush, just gently brush the black mold off with a toothbrush, and then also pour some hydrogen peroxide on it a few times and let it dry out, and like poured it again and let it dry until it looked like I had killed all the black rot. And there is some black marks, but I think it's dead mold, and I don't really want to chop more than what I've chopped because that's going to start cutting into the base of these leaves. So I've had it just sitting. This was one of the tips that I watched a video about, was to just sit it above the water in the glass. And the reason for this is because the humidity in the glass will encourage the plant to grow new roots. So because the plant doesn't have roots currently, it will try to kind of stretch out towards the water and grow new roots. Orchids are epiphytes, which means that they can absorb water through their leaves. So I've been spritzing this plant every couple of days with some water just to give it moisture on the leaves. It should also be absorbing humidity from the air and from the glass underneath it. So it's still nice and firm, and it's doing quite well. And it's actually starting to grow these little, let's try to focus my camera, these little green nubs are starting to form, and I believe that these are new roots starting to form at the base of the plant. I hope you guys can see those. Yeah, those weren't there before, so I think that they're new roots, I'm hoping. Yeah, it's just, this is kind of an experiment, you know, it's like a last ditch effort to save a dying plant. Yeah, so I have pretty high hopes for this one. I think it seems like it's starting to come back, and it's got some little nubs there that I think are roots. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing with that, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. The other one that I have was very wilty. Many of the leaves had died off, and I had 2 leaves left, and they were just like limp, like banana peel limp. So I actually, this one like had no roots. It was very rotten at the base, and I had to cut very close to the leaves to save it. And I ended up, because it was so limp, I had it in a glass like the other one, but it just kept getting worse and worse. So I actually put it in this jug of water to completely soak it. I left it in here for 2 nights, and the leaves used to be really limp like this, both of them, but this one has actually firmed up. So, like I said, because orchids are epiphytes and they could absorb water through their leaves, I think that this has helped to rehydrate this leaf from soaking it completely in the water. I didn't watch any videos suggesting to do this with orchids, but I have done this with other plants that I dried out before, like ferns. I had like a heart leaf fern before that I did this with, because I hadn't watered it, and I just, to try and save it, I completely soaked it for a couple of days, and it actually came all the way back, and then I later killed it at another time from forgetting to water it. I'm not very good with ferns. They're very finicky. And I'm sort of a less water type of plant person. So I do really good with like succulents and things that don't need to be watered as much. But yeah, so I just tried soaking this, and this one has firmed up, and this one is not as bad, but it's still kind of limp. I took it out of the water and just left it on my desk just with nothing last night, because plants do need to exchange air because they need to absorb CO2 and release oxygen, so to be able to photosynthesize and feed themselves. So I left it out overnight so that it would have time out of the water, because I'm worried that it won't be able to produce food for itself if it's completely submerged in water for too long. But I do really want it to rehydrate itself, so I think I'm gonna put it back in. Well, I did just put it back in before I started the video. I'm gonna leave it in again for the night, and I think I'll just switch off one day, one night in, one night out. And hope that it continues to firm up. And then once this leaf is more firm, I'm just going to put it back in the water glass like I have the other one, just sitting above water, and hopefully it'll start to grow new roots. This one right now, you can see it barely has any stem at all. You know, I don't see any roots forming yet. So, I mean, I don't have high hopes for this one, but you know, we can try and experiment and see how it goes. So I will try to keep you guys posted on that. I'll make another video if they start to grow roots. And if you have some orchids that are dying, then maybe this is a way that you can try to save them. So yeah, I think that's about it. Just it's a longer video than I thought, but that's okay. Yeah, okay, thanks. Bye.